Hey guys, and welcome to CUBED, the Marvel Snap podcast, episode 14. So tonight we are gonna actually go over the season coming up. We'll first go over the end of this season, how we did. Last week's card, which was what was last week's card? Valentina? Yeah, Valentina. You want to say Valentine, but yeah, Valentina, and then we'll go from there. So tonight, as always, I have on your left. I always have trouble. On your guys' left, we have Bok Choy, aka Dakota, and to your right, we have DarkHelmit, aka Don. How y'all doing tonight?
Yo,
Doing great.
I've had better, but that's the way it goes.
Yep. That is the way it goes. I was like, I don't know what to say to that. But let's actually get into it. How are you guys doing this season? Let's get into the nitty gritty on how this season has treated you guys. So let's start with you, Dakota.
All right, so this is the first season I've ever made it into Infinite that early. It was within the first week, like right after. What was the second card that came out? The Red Guardian. I think the day Red Guardian came out, I got in before he was released. So
Nice.
it was within that first week there.
Okay.
Awesome. This was a really fun time. I enjoyed being a part of the Infinite crowd of messing with the cards and not having any drawbacks outside of like maybe dropping in rank. That's the highest I've ever been ever. I made it to like 18,000 at one point. I was like, oh yeah, we're doing this, man. Currently, I'm in the 50s, but that doesn't really. It's been a rough fall from there. I don't know what happened there, but it's been a really fun season. I've enjoyed every one of the cards that's come out. It's been a good time.
All right. How about yourself, Don? How have you been doing this season?
It's been a good season. I made to Infinite, which was awesome, just like Dakota. First week, I mean, it was probably the first time in a long time that I've made it that quickly. Got at least one Infinity Border for beating an Infinity Conquest.
My man.
It's been fire. Been making memes with my boys here. Please go check them out. They are fire right now, and we got so many in the pipeline. We're bringing the smoke show.
There you go. All right. So I believe this season was pretty good. I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I know others have been complaining regarding the new cards that have been coming out. So, of course, the season pass card was Baron Zemo, and it kind of brought about that new mill deck, right? And people weren't really having fun with that one. We have Red Guardian, which is another awesome card to come out this season, where he basically pick and choose on who he wants to stop. And more often than not, if you're playing an Angela deck, he's targeting Angela, So I think some pretty good cards came from this season. Last week's card, Valentina, I thought it would be more impactful, but I'm glad that it's not, because it also brought back Loki decks, right? Because what is that other card that came out this? Yeah, I can't think of it. No, I think it is actually Valentina. Sorry, I have something flying around.
So like White Widow. I don't know who.
yeah, it was actually Valentina. But
Okay.
I think this season has been going really well, and I'm glad it's one of those seasons where we all made Infinite really early, and I think that's that's the key that I always tell you guys. I think we got to get in early and beat the bots, because the bots are the stuff that gives you 8 cubes, and it's just like easy sailing from there. Now you do get, those other players, but you just have to outsmart them, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
a good deck, like I always said, somebody even asked us on our Instagram. The Instagram is the Marvel Snap Podcast. So, by the way, just follow us. So they asked us on there, how do you make infinite, right? Because it's easy to make it the first season you play, right? Because most of the time you're playing bots. Now, if once you make infinite, that's where the struggle is going to happen, because you might think, oh, I'm just starting off this game. Why is everybody talking how hard it is to make infinite, right? And they reach infinite and they see how tough it can be because they don't have all the cards. So they're playing, with one hand tied behind their back while these other guys have 5 hands, So it's like, they talk a big game because they're like, yeah, I can't believe, you guys can't make infinite. Like, yeah, it is easy the very first season that you start. And you put respect on people that are struggling, because sometimes grinding is a struggle on the ladder. I mean, I know you guys have experience with how that can be later in the month. So I'm glad we all made it. It was such a happy month. Unfortunately, stress comes tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. I'm not ready for this.
And not only that, stress doubles for me because I'm actually going on a cruise next week. So I'm hoping that I could hopefully make infinite by the end of the week. But, I have a wedding and all this stuff going on. So, I pray for all of us to do well, at least, the first week. And we'll see what happens. So,
woof.
Yeah. So anything else you guys want to add? Like any highlights throughout the season that you guys had? Let's start with you, Don.
Nah, other than that, like just doing those things, having a great season, looking forward to the next season coming up. I know a lot of people are kind of excited about some of these Eternal cards coming. Honestly, I'm one further. I'm looking for that Deadpool season.
Oh yeah,
I'm super excited and just can't wait for that to get here. So it's
yeah,
gonna be good.
it is, and it couldn't have come in a better time because I think that month also releases Deadpool and Wolverine, right? So
Yep.
I like when they do that and it coincides with stuff. Then I feel like the game is actually part of the movie, It makes
100%.
me, yeah. It's like 4D.
It's for me specific. They did the same thing with Guardians 3. That's when we had our Guardians season.
Yep.
And literally, I didn't get to see the movie yet. That season came out, and I was like, I can't wait. I have to see this. Like, for me to play this right now, I had to have that movie fun. I was so pumped. Yeah, I can't even speak English. That's how excited I was for that. Yeah, it was awesome.
All right. So how about yourself, Dakota? Did you have any highlights throughout the season?
Just making it in Infinite that early was a huge thing for me. The whole season was a highlight after that. I've never, like I said, I was in Valhalla watching everyone fight. I was just sitting there drinking neat, and I'm like, oh, this is great, man. Life is good. And I just got my ticket. I'm getting kicked out tomorrow, so I'm stressed out. But yeah, it's been a highlight. I've been happy.
All right. So, yeah, on top of that, I just wanted to add that that I always forget what I'm always going to add. So let's move on. All right. So last week's card was, like we mentioned earlier, was Valentina. And let me just bring her up real quick and read her effect. So she is a 2-power, 3-cost card with an on reveal of add a random 6-cost card to your hand. Give it -2 cost and -3 power. Let's start with you, Don. Like, did you find yourself using this card often? If you did, what kind of decks did you run with her? And how do you feel about the card in general?
A lot of fun with this card. I think, it's, again, one of those RNG cards, but because you get the RNG off of it, running it in a Loki deck just made 100% sense, right?
Yeah.
You already have Quinjet in there. Typically, because you're getting some of those other cards that you're pulling in. I ended up pulling a Galactus, which is
sorry, Don. Could you? Sorry, could you
a
roll?
very low power Galactus, but if they don't see it coming, and you can play it on and boom.
Wait, Don. I know you didn't hear it, but you were. I think
Dude,
you were Galactus.
Like, what the fuck just happened, dude?
I think you got Galactus because
Oh man,
you were in and out a little bit there.
well,
so
yeah, I told you.
so sorry. So you were saying we stopped at you were mentioning Galactus.
Galactus took me away.
Yes.
Yeah, so getting a super cheap Galactus was awesome. Right?
Oh, okay.
So the fact that you could play Galactus on turn 3 was just
man.
amazing.
That's got to be a nice pull. I mean, did you have Mobius out or no?
Yes. Did I have Mobius out?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So
No.
they had to beat a 3-2? Is that what I'm
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They had to beat a 3-2.
Yes, but you could play it on 3 is the thing.
But again, playing it on 3, you'd never see it coming.
Yeah. That must have been awesome. So, okay, let's go to you, Dakota. Like, how did you feel about this card when it, first coming out?
So, like I said last week, because I was so excited about it, I'm like, watch the card just be the worst thing for me. Man, I lost almost every game I have with this card because every time she gave me something, it was Apocalypse or it was Destroyer or I was like, oh, this doesn't work at all. I did not have that luck. I did get the chance to do the Galactus play once. It didn't work because they beat me on that lane. It was like, all right, cool. I enjoyed it. It was a fun style. It was people like firing up the old Loki deck again. Have to say, like I enjoyed playing that for a while. But this card just kicked my ass. I didn't have the luck as I was expecting to with it. So it was fun though. But yeah, it's just I don't see me taking this deck further than this week. Honestly, it'd be really. There has to be some more things coming out to it for me to see fighting on the ladder with this deck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, besides being in a Loki deck, it's kind of hard to think what else you would run with it because it just fits in with Loki so well, right? It's giving you a 6 cost with a negative 2 cost already, and then Loki runs Quinjet, so that's like a -3 cost right there. So anything you get will be a 3 cost card. Yeah, it has a -3 power, but later on you could play Mobius. Not Mobius, sorry, Luke Cage.
There it is, yeah.
So it's kind of crazy to say, wow, you have a 3 cost possibility game winning card that you could just hold in your hand and it's like, just find the right time to play it. But you would think it'd be more broken, but it's not, which is amazing, right? Because of the not predictability, the unpredictability. Because you don't know what you're getting. So you could, more oftentimes than not, I played it quite a bit, and I got Apocalypse twice, and I was just like, he already got nerfed. Yeah. I was like, he already got nerfed. He was basically a 4/6, if I'm not mistaken, because he's 4/5, because he's a 4/8 right now, or 6/8, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I'm
So
looking right now. I think so though.
Yeah, so it's pretty funny that with all the 6 cost cards that we do have, I got them twice.
Yeah, right. I did get the Agatha once, and I was like, "Oh shoot, here we go." It was kind of cool to see her. She played herself, obviously, but it was cool. I'm like, "Oh wow, that's dope."
Which is amazing because you could get her she ends up being 11 power. And she plays her out on like turn 4. So you're like, okay, I got 2 more turns. Hopefully they don't have Shang-Chi.
Yeah. So then you can play something else. It's perfect.
Yeah. What were you saying, Don?
I think my best pull ended up being I got Giganto,
Ooh.
and that's a pretty good pull.
Oh, heck yeah.
Going 411, 311. Oh,
So yeah, I think this card it's been a good card. I wouldn't say it's like the best card because you could still run things that could be better than it. Like a lot of people are saying Cable is still better because you disrupt the opponent, right? You could do what's her name? Mirage. Mirage is a good pull where, you do get to see information from your opponent's hand, and basically it's stronger than what they have, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not the strongest card. I like its usability. It's very unique in its pull set because you have Agent 13 that could get 1 cost. It's very random to have a card that does just 6 costs, right? Because 6 costs are typically your power cards. So it's nice that they are changing some stuff up, giving us more usability in things and providing, I guess, Loki. It could also be run in an agent deck, I guess, a collector deck as well. So yeah, it's nice that they're providing those types of decks where they nerfed it pretty bad, and it's getting some support back because Thanos is gone. What else? High Evo is having a bad time, even with Red Hulk sometimes. So as decks go out of the meta, I'm glad that they're putting stuff to replace it, right? So I think they hopefully they know what they're doing. Fingers crossed, because a lot of the state of the game people tend to be complaining about, but I say trust in them for now, and we'll see what happens because it is just a game, and you don't have to spend money to play the game, but we do. But we do. I will say my spending has gotten very much better after seeing the past few bundles, and we won't rehash that. We hashed that out in another cast, so we'll leave it at that.
Now let's get into it. Let's dive deep on
this one. So let's move on. The new season, the theme of the new season, it's called A Blink in Time, and it's in the name. Blink is the season pass card. Now, I'm not too sure. Is it are they a part of a team or something like that? All the cards that are getting released? Like, is there a reason why these specific cards are being released? Do you guys know?
I know nothing about this.
They're all the Eternals, aren't they?
No, these aren't the Eternals.
No.
Not
Eternals
this season.
is
I thought it was going to be this season too, but it's Blink.
Yeah,
it's
so
something.
Eternals is next season. I was kind of taken aback when you mentioned it. So I was just like, is that this season?
Oh yeah, it's May.
Yeah. So this season is it's called A Blink in Time. I know Second Dinner came out with a video. I don't know the tie-ins to these characters and why they're in the season pass together. But we're going to go over them, and hopefully you guys can let us know in the comments or down below, just to let us know, like, what are we missing? How are these cards tied together? So the first card we're going to go over is, of course, the card of the season, and it's Blink. And she is a 5 cost, 7 power, and it's an on reveal. I'll go ahead and read this. It says, on reveal, swap the last card you played with a higher cost card from your deck. So from my understanding, I think the way that they mention this is, I think it goes 1 up, if I'm not mistaken. So like if you played a 2, you're going to get a 3 cost card from your deck. And if you don't, then there's a 4. Am I thinking about that right?
I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems kind of straightforward in that. I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah, have you heard anything about it on?
No, this looks like a really interesting card. It's gonna be interesting to see how it all kind of plays out. Um, let's see which cards. Let's think of some low cost four cards, or low power four cards. What would be great is if you play this in a deck like well, let's see, Jubilee, right?
Yeah,
You get its effect, you pull out a big strong card, and then all of a sudden you could turn that into a 5 cost card, which who knows what that's going to be, right?
yeah,
I think this card's going to be a lot like what we saw with Valentina, where you have such randomness
yeah.
that it's going to be a little more difficult to put your finger on exactly how it's going to work. But I think you could definitely get some pretty interesting effects working out there.
The only thing is, it's not a random card. It'll be a card from your deck, right? So this kind of puts another thing to be like, deck trackers should be in the game, right? Because if you knew what was left in your deck, I mean, I guess you should as a player, but not everybody writes your whole deck down, right? You don't write down, oh, I drew this, I drew that. No, because then games are like 3 minutes sometimes, and you'd have to have a huge notepad to do every game like that. Now, if there was a deck tracker, you could be like, okay, what's left in my deck, and what's the last card I played, and what's the next step up? Like what could be in my deck that it will swap for. That way, you actually make a strategic play, right? You're not just like, oh, good luck, me, So it's kind of I think it's a really good card. Now, I just think it would help that there was a mobile deck tracker. Now, there is a PC one, so you can make informed decisions as you play. I just hope that's something in the works that Second Dinner has for their community, because I feel like every card game has I guess like a some type of way to know what's left in your deck, right? So it'd be nice if it's something like that. Now, what kind of deck would you guys use this in? Let's start with you, Dakota.
So this one has potential for a lot of like ramp stuff. I feel like personally, because like if I'm able to start getting some higher static cards, if it's gonna upgrade the next one to something that's higher, I want to be able to get something out that's already a 5. So like okay, let's turn it into a 6. That's my thought on it. It's gonna be kind of hard to pull it off, but if you're doing some things, I could see this working pretty good with a Hella deck. This is a good play line where you can pull out Hella, possibly if you didn't get a chance to yet. Mm-hmm. She's hiding there. I mean, that was kind of the move with America Chavez. You had that play line to say, okay, if I don't have this, X, Y, and Z is the next move.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it kind of like there's some good chances to grab and pull. I think what Don said was huge too. The Jubilee play is cracked. If you're able to start kind of moving things out, it's kind of like a new version of ramp where you're pulling out these big cards, so you could do stuff like that. Yeah, I could see some potential there with that. So kind of my thought.
How about yourself, Don? Like, what kind of deck do you see yourself using this in?
Well, I'm gonna try not to fail and actually remember what this card is this time.
Yeah, let me put it up.
So you know what, okay, I got an idea. What if we try to bring back, this is left field, we try to bring back a little bit of Thanos, right?
Oh.
I know they're the 1-cost cards, right? But if they're all 1 cost, and then you just start stacking it a little bit higher, it's going to be really random whether you get it or not. But it could, you do a Jubilee in there, you start kind of just doing some stuff to try to pull out some bigger cost cards. It's a little out of the left field. I'd have to really work on it. I'm not sure how that would work, but I think this is going to be a good 5. I think we're going to see the impact of this card the kind of way that we saw Legion go, right? It's
Okay.
just going to be one of those cards that you're going to start to slide into a bunch of decks, right? You're going to be like, okay, well, I played a 5 cost. I know I have 2 of my 6 costs still left in the deck. Okay, let's just play it. Let's see what happens here. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, to be honest.
Yeah. So for me, I was thinking like something like a Sarah deck, where like if you Sarah's in your deck, and then you're like, well, it's not in my hand. I know it's in my deck. Hopefully, the last card I played was like a 4. So, or I don't know. I still don't know the mechanics on how this works. Like, will it go the next level up or cost up, or will it go like anything that's over it? It's randomized. So if it is the next cost up, then at least what you're kind of aiming for, right? So if it's a 4, it could never be a 6 unless there's no 5s in your deck anymore. Then it has to be a 6. So
you're like pigeonholing it.
Exactly. So and that's a thing about this card is it's a 5 cost 7 power. So you're playing this on 5. If Sarah's in your hand and this is in your hand, well, I guess you play Sarah because you could play this card next turn. So, but it's such a high cost card that I almost think you want to play Magic in it. So I don't know. It's such a weird card, but I think it is a good card, and I'm glad it's a season pass card. It's not a tokens, because this is actually a pretty good card. So I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be exciting to see what people come up with. I know you guys always come up with good stuff. I'm mostly a net decker, so I will just like copy whatever you guys do, and I don't have time to theory craft, and you guys do well with that. So I will just sit back and see what you guys come up with. All right. So the next card that actually is coming out the same day is. Sorry, I thought this is in order. Oh, it's not in order. Why would they do this to me? All right, let me go to the schedule real quick. And
the humanity.
I know, like, what the heck? Okay. So the card that comes out first is Nocturne. And it's so funny because I never knew there was a Nocturne in Marvel. I don't know if anybody's ever played League of Legends, but there's a Nocturne in League of Legends. And I was just like, did League of Legends just steal the name? So Nocturne is a 3 cost, 5 power card. And let me read it here. It says you can move this once. When this moves, replace its location with a random new one. Okay. So this is like a Scarlet Witch and a Nightcrawler mix, right? Now, the question I have about this card is you could move itself with its own effect. You could move it once, right? What happens if you move it with another effect? Does it get its... It does. I would think so, because the wording is, when this moves, replace its location with a random new one. So if you pull this with Ghost, it should still work as well, right? So you could go around moving things and changing locations willy-nilly, if I'm not mistaken, the way I read it, right? So I'll put it up for you guys. Let me get your thoughts on this first, Dakota.
I mean, man, you just said what you're thinking with Blink, where you're like, wow, we should throw out maybe Magic. This is the answer to people who are doing that. You can completely just stop that play line. You can even stop it on your own side. Like, this is going to be an interesting style to have 2 cards in one. Movement is getting some... I mean, we've had a few things here and there in movement, but it really has never taken off in my perspective, like anytime I've tried playing it, it's an okay archetype. It just doesn't have the stuff, man. Compared to everything else that's out there, your stats are not high enough. Okay, cool. At the end, you're gonna move everything to the left. It's like, oh yeah, big surprise. So I mean, if you're able to do a little bit of disrupt here too, that's massive. Okay, great. Try to stop me with Storm. Nope, sorry, not gonna happen. Yeah, this is gonna be really a game changer. I feel like these two together is a really funny mix. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to play with this one.
I just want to add to that where where I still forget what I say. So go ahead and Don. What about you, Don?
I think we're going to see this card fit straight into that deck where you're playing Angela, you're playing Craven, and you're just going to be able to kind of move more cards around a little more consistently. I could see this card slightly replacing out something like Silk in your deck to be a little more consistent. Yeah, it's a one more cost as far as the energy you're going to play, but it has the same energy, or it has the same power.
Yep.
And if you end up having Elsa down, all of a sudden this is a 3/8, right? You have a chance to change something if you need be. It's going to be pretty cool. Another deck that this actually will fit into, which might be an interesting look, is playing it into a Surfer deck, right? You're going to get a hit off this. And having the ability to actually change a zone that you don't want to be in, right? So let's say you have Thanos' throne, or the throne room, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That kills that deck because you're already clogging up space. You move this over into that spot, all of a sudden you're opening up into four more places you could play stuff into. I think it could be really useful in both those decks. This should be an interesting card to see how. Well, I've said that about all the cards because that's just what I say. But it'll be fun to watch this card play out, and that I say that too. Well, I guess those are my catch lines now.
All right. So what I remembered was Dakota mentioned, move hasn't been relevant. I mean, with the new Angela deck, it's kind of relevant. It's like a kind of move deck. But it's more like a kitty bounce Angela deck in that sense. So it's kind of like a hybrid. But with move having something like this card, they also have location control now. Whereas before, they had no way to control any type of location, right? They had to either tech in a Scarlet Witch or they had to tech in a storm. Yeah. So it's cool that they have this thing to even counteract Storm, right? Because sometimes people storm against you. Because in a move deck, you want to be the one to play the Storm because you could move things into that location. But if it gets played against you without having what you need, at least Nocturne will be there and be like, okay, well, I got your ass. I saved you. So
that's your bitch ass.
So it's a really cool card, and I like that what you mentioned on, where she can be a replacement for Silk. Like you said, it might be one more power, but you don't get that randomness, right? Where with Silk, you're like, oh man, how many times with Silk have you played it, and you're just like, I just want it to stay there. If I stay there, I win. They play something, it moves, you lose, right? So it's like, it's an awesome card. It's just it doesn't have that randomness. So it's kind of, for me, it's like a kind of a upgrade to Silk. Even though it's one power, I don't know if they're comparable, but you get that utility in, say, they magic. You could change that location. You don't want that magic no more. So, I think it's going to be a great addition to the game, and it's going to be, oh man, the what is it? The Spotlight variants all this month are having me second think buying or using tokens to buy last month's. So it's insane. So we'll go to the next card. I got to keep thinking of how many tokens I don't have. So,
You know, for the low cost of
Oh heck yeah.
$9.99.99, you can get more.
Exactly, and I don't want to. I do, but I don't. So I do have some caches saved up, because nearing the end of the season, I like to stop opening caches because I don't want to get these bullshit gold tickets, because I like to earn those. So I like to hold off on opening caches for like the last week and save them for the new season. So then, those gold tickets I could use, right? They're not as bullshit as opening a cache the day before the season ends and getting a gold ticket and like, I got to do a gold run now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, let's run through a gauntlet. Okay.
Yeah. You either do a gold run or you get 20 boosters. I don't know what the exchange on boosters is for a gold ticket, but shouldn't be much.
It's some weird math, dude. It doesn't make sense. Like when we really went through all of our caches, I had so many gold tickets I didn't get to use.
Yeah.
And I got like 170 boosters for like, I think it was Dr. Doom. I was like, that was it? That was literally 23 gold tickets. How did that make any sense?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, because if they're giving it to you for free, I think they devalue it more. So the gold tickets that you actually worked for are like null and void because they're just giving you free ones, right? So it's not comparable, you know. Bring back gold. Don't give us gold tickets. Bring back
gold,
50
baby.
gold.
I want
50.
gold.
50. Bring back 50 gold. 25. I'll take 25 over a gold ticket. So five.
Please.
One. Give me one gold.
Give me one gold. Just give it to me.
So,
You know what? Give me a Wonka bar, just because those golden tickets,
Oh man,
I bet it makes the chocolate taste bad.
Yeah, it's like
It's not good for you.
Why does my chocolate taste like gold? Okay, so the week after we have Sage, and she's a 3-cost 0 power, and her effect is as it here is blah blah blah. On reveal, +2 power for each different power among all other cards here. So +2 power for each different power among all other cards. Is that word weird, or I'm just not used to English? So I will say this is kind of a weird card. For some reason, I thought it was going to be ongoing, right? So you're meant to play this later in the game. Whereas if it was an ongoing, you could, play it whenever and then just keep playing other cards and they'll gain 2, lose 2, all that stuff. But it's an on reveal, so it's best used later in the game. So how do you feel about this card, Don?
I mean, I honestly think this is my least favorite card of this season. Looking at it, just the fact that you're playing a 3-0 so late in the game, to hope that you get something.
Yeah.
What's your best case, right? The chances of them playing something that is a different cost, right? That's not a mirror cost to you. I just see this card probably is going to get buffed before we know it. I think it's going to be one of those ones that nobody wants to spend time on. It's going to be another great 6,000 token, waste of tokens.
But look at this variant, man.
Wait,
Now, in all honesty, I'm not super excited. If I skip any week this season, it's probably going to be this card.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. You mentioned something that I didn't even think of. It says +2 power for each different power among all other cards here. Does that include your opponent's side?
it has to.
You guys
Yeah,
think so?
I would
Makes
think it
sense.
has to.
Okay, because the way that
Yep.
this is worded, it doesn't say in your area. It just says among all other cards here, which means the lane, right? The lane.
It has to be. It would be specific if it was. If it was like only your side, only your opponent's side. For it to say here, it has to be it.
Because this,
Yep.
am I mistaken that it could be potentially quick math a 3-14? So your opponent has
in
4
theory,
cards.
yes.
Your opponent has
Talking
4
about
cards
Jean
on
Grey.
Yeah, but then they all have different powers.
But Jean Grey doesn't work.
What do you mean?
The problem with Jean Grey is Jean Grey's already a 3-cost card.
Oh, you're right. It has to be different cost.
No, different power.
Different. Never mind. Wrong. Haha.
No, you.
I retract my previous statement.
So
I take back my time.
okay, because I didn't even think about
I
this.
still think.
Yeah,
I still think it's not going to be a great card. I'm not going to be a huge fan of it, but
Dude, if it's on reveal, Grandmaster.
yeah. You could Grandmaster it. You could play it on Comartage. You could Wong it. Wong. Okay. Now, does her power get mixed into the bunch, right? Because say you do Wong Mystique. Mystique's a 0. Is she counted as a 0 as well? Or is she counted after the fact? Right? Because this card could be a really...
she's counted as 0 because they're both zeros.
So it wouldn't be a different power compared to herself. Or does she take herself into account? You know? I don't think she would, if I'm not mistaken. I guess it's going to be a lot of play testing.
Yeah, we got to do some trial and error on that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about it, say you Wong Mystique and then play this card among all... Man, this card's going to be huge. Huge.
Freaking huge. Trust me. People always say this card's big. I tell them it's huge. I know cards.
So, I don't know. It seems like you guys said, a good surfer deck, too. But so, what about yourself, Dakota? What do you think about this card?
Well, shoot, man. After what we just talked about, the potential of this one actually, I think with some trial and error, it could be a really good card. I mean, Ravona's got synergy with this one right off the rip, too.
You're
you could do some
right.
pretty nasty stuff if you wanted to go negative with this. This is kind of cool. This is an interesting card.
Yo.
Yeah, I'm for it. I mean, once I get a hold of it, of course, I'll find out what we can do. Hopefully, I'll be out of the ladder to join it. But it looks like it's got some potential to be a powerhouse. Honestly, like that's huge.
Yeah, I didn't even think about in negative. I didn't think about Ravona hitting it because you were just talking about Grandmaster. Grandmaster is a 2. It becomes a 1. On turn 3, you could play this and then Grandmaster again. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's going to...
gross.
Yeah, it could be very gross.
You could throw goblins on the other side and then put it
I
there,
feel like
too.
that's one of those...
Perfect hands, right?
Yep, perfect hands.
Okay, I was just like, yeah, I just feel like you come up with a game plan and it's like, oh man, each draw has to be perfect for it to work out. So
You'll never get those cards.
Yeah, no.
That's the best part. Every game you get, it's like, oh, we shuffled 3 rocks in your deck. Get fucked, bitch. You don't even get a chance to play that.
But that one time you do, it's going to be amazing.
yeah, and just like,
I'll screen record that, and that's going to be posted.
it's like, oh, this
the best
this is
deck
why I
ever.
play it, you know? Oh man. Okay, so this card is the next card, week 3, because we only have 4 weeks this month. Supposedly this might be the weakest card of the bunch, but I feel like it has some potential. So this card is Namora, And the effect is as it reads. It's a 5 cost, 6 power card, and it's an on reveal. Give plus 5 power to each of your cards alone at another location, right? So this works well with Orca. It works well with Namor. I don't know how good this could be, but in my head, I was thinking about mixing like maybe Destroy into it, right? Because Destroy has Carnage. Destroy has Venom, which leaves a lot of these lanes by themselves sometimes. So I'm like, maybe this is a good card. I don't know. What do you? Let's start with you, Don. How do you feel about this card?
See, I think this is like a cheap Doom card, right? See, really, it doesn't matter what cards you have out, right? You stack one lane, you put a single card in the other two, all of a sudden they both get a +5 on reveal, right? And then let's say it's Jeff in one lane, right? And armor in another. Well, now you have an 8 power armor. You have a 8 power Jeff that you can move around to whatever. You've already started stacking in one lane. Like I think you could actually do some really cool stuff here, and just really make use of this. Like I think planning out to have one card in each lane isn't going to be as hard as you might think.
Okay, sorry, I just noticed this while reading it. It's an on reveal. It's not an ongoing.
Grandmaster.
Yeah, well, not.
Grandmaster, baby. It's the one and only now.
Okay. It's my birthday. All right. So it gets on revealed. Say you play this middle, right? You're stacking middle. You have one card in your left and one card in your right. It gives +5 power to each of your cards. Okay. Each of your cards alone in the area, right? So you could play on it the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, damn! It's better than Captain was. Yeah, Miss Marvel's better than Miss Marvel. It's better than That's got some power, bro.
Dude, you could literally another play would probably be like, oh, okay, if you need to put Namora, you could what is it? Arnim Zola, your Namora. Namora goes on 2 other lanes. It gives 10 power to the Arnim Zola. if Arnim Zola is the only card there,
there's a lot of options here. Yeah, right.
So it could work in a destroy deck, which is kind of weird to think about. Whereas a lot of times, the only thing about destroy decks is the randomness of Wolverine and X-23, right? So the destroy cards I'm more thinking about would be Carnage, Venom, maybe Phoenix Force. So I don't know. Because imagine you buff your freaking Human Torch.
Lord,
what if you
flame on?
What if for this card in Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
So you replace out your multiple man, right? Because you're not going to multiple man anything.
No.
Because you don't want to fill up those lanes.
Yeah.
But you replace it with Vulture
or Dagger. That's pretty crazy.
Dagger.
Yeah.
Just a single card getting a bunch of power up, and then it gets that bump, and then you Arnim Zola it at the end.
Because those cards aren't what is it called? You can't Killmonger them, right? That's the worst thing about Human Torches is it could get Killmongered randomly. But those cards, it could get Shang-Chi'd or Cannonball. But if you play it right, that's actually not a bad idea if you think about it. The only thing is that you'd probably want 7 turns, so you want something like a magic, because if I'm not mistaken, Dagger and Vulture are 3 power, or 3 cost.
Let me look at the ancient text.
I think Dagger's a 2 still.
If Dagger is a 2, that's game changing.
I think she's a 2.
She's a 2.
I'm pretty sure.
But I'm waiting to find out. I'm loading.
Okay, I can check real quick. I have the game open. So Dagger is a 2. That's crazy. Yeah, instead of doing... Yeah, Vulture's a 3. Yeah, instead of doing multiple man, you can make a Phoenix Force deck with Dagger. That is dirty, man. So, that's pretty
What
insane.
about... Okay. Are you guys coming across a lot of the ongoing decks?
Oh, yeah,
right now?
The Spectrum deck.
Yeah. If you put out Colossus, he can't die. Shang-Chi won't do anything to him. You put him in one lane, puts, I don't know, maybe armor in the other one. You're able to, and then you Wong the middle, put her on that, Odin that. You got some power on the other sides along with what you're making in the middle there, too.
That's true. So you give plus 10 to the other locations, but that means they can't really go vertical. That's the only thing. Like, if they could beat you vertically, then you're kind of SOL. But if they can't, I mean, this is all theory crafting, right? So there's a lot of things that you could do with this. It's just some people are saying this is probably the weakest card, but the way I read it before, I thought it was an ongoing, like Orca, like Namor.
Yeah.
So knowing that it's an on reveal, it happens once. If it's by itself once, then you could play on it afterwards, right? So it's still usable. It's a nice little buff, and what Don was saying, it's like an invisible Doom.
Yeah.
But better. Because say if you play this and you have 2 other locations with 1 card, this is a 5/16 power. That's not bad. Doom is 5/15. So this beats out Doom.
It's a 5/15.
Repeating, of course. So let me get your take on this card, Don.
Excuse me, sir.
Did you?
Yeah,
I thought we already did this one.
Okay, my bad. I thought I only got Dakota's, and then I went, and then I thought, okay. Excuse the host for a second. All right.
We'll fix it in post.
Now,
hold on. So with this card, here's the thing about this card, right? It's almost like a cheap Doom. Okay.
I knew I heard that from somewhere.
See, the cool thing is you could do like Jeff in one lane and stack this in the middle with a armor, right? It's going to be awesome, right? They both get +5. You can move stuff around. It's going to be crazy.
This motherfucker's fitting.
The armor gets +5. Jeff gets +5. Those are 2 8s. Man, that's not bad too. Like thinking about it now, you're stacking, and on turn 6 you can move things. That's gonna be cool. So, all right. So last card of the season, 4th week, is Sasquatch, and if I'm not mistaken, it's a she. So,
What?
yeah, it's actually a she. So let me double check on this while we talk about it.
Let's just say they for now.
Marvel. Because so Sasquatch is never mind. It says Walter. Okay, so from
It's a Sasquatch, not a sassy squatch, bro.
no, from what I heard of the video that Ben Brode and them released, it said it was a she. Okay, I'm not okay, whatever. Maybe there's different Sasquatches. But we'll talk about this one. It is a 6 cost 10 power, and the effect is as reads: costs one less for each card you played last turn. Now, this card is going to be very good in a Hitmonkey or a bounce deck, beast, something like that, because most of the time you're playing a bunch of cards in those last few turns, right? So this is going to bring back Sandman as well. So I think we're going to get a very weird 4th week in this month. So let's start with you, Don. What do you think about this card?
Well, see, I think this is going to be like a discount set. Doctor Doom.
Okay.
Anyways, so I'm sorry. Sorry, call back. Anyways.
Oh, I didn't realize we were on Nomura still.
Okay. I think it's going to be a really interesting card. I think I see what you mean by like playing it in a deck with Hitmonkey. I think we're actually going to see this card fall into several other decks. I think it's going to be a lot like the way Scar was, right? I mean, even if you play, let's say, turn 2 or turn 3, you play 2 cards, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, turn 4, you could play this card out, right? This card is going to be nice, even if you play. It's the opposite of She-Hulk, right? You could play this in with the She-Hulk even and still make it successful. I think there's a lot of things you can do to just play some discount 10 cost cards out and kind of go from there. It could be an interesting card to mess around with. I don't know how overly impactful it's going to actually end up being, but it should be some fun.
Okay. How about yourself, Dakota?
Well, I'm a very big fan of Dr. Squatch. I've been using their product for a long time, so I'm happy to have a mascot to enjoy the game with.
Sponsor
this
us.
Card's gonna be, I think this card's gonna be really fun to play with because you got your Mysterio pack. Bam! Already you're dropping that down to a 3/10. That's huge. You're going to be able to do some cool synergy with Mockingbird as well. You got 2 big play lines with just those. And like Don just mentioned, Scar. That's great. You start putting these 10 powers out there, you're going to have a very high statted deck just to play with. And I think that's going to be a super fun style. What you mentioned about Sandman coming back, yeah, for sure. He's going to make an appearance because there's no way anyone's going to – if you don't pick this card up, you're going to try to stop it. So it makes sense. But, yeah, I think this one's going to be fun. Out of all the ones we mentioned, I don't know. I know this is stupid, but I like this one the most.
Yeah, I think this one has actually the most possibility, right? I mean, right now, Bounce hasn't had anything really going for it right now. I mean, it's still a good deck, but you don't see its relevance at the moment. Now, that's mainly because we have Shang-Chi and Shadow King in the meta, right? So if you're not running a Luke Cage and you're buffing, say, your Bishop, you're buffing your Angela, you're buffing your well, maybe like debuffing. You're making all 3 of your Mysterios 3 power with Bast. You know, all that can go away with one Shadow King. So a lot of times people aren't playing Bounce right now because of Shadow King. But having a card that has a set power will actually make it viable where you could play it turn 6, right? Say you beast things on turn 4 and you play 6+ cards on turn 5. turn 6 Sasquatch is free, and then you can play more cards. So it's going to be really cool to see what people come up with. It's such an interesting card. I don't think it will change just because I think where it's at, it makes it Shang-Chiable. If it's not Shang-Chiable, then that would kind of be scarier. Those cards that are like 9, like Mockingbird, those are scary cards, right? That can get discounted because having a 1/9, 2/9, up to like a 3/9, it's kind of crazy to see just, how much power that jumps your lane because we're used to like 4/10s already. So having a 3/9 is pretty scary. The most we have is a 3/8, which is a Gladiator. So, But yeah, how are you guys feeling for this upcoming season? I mean, like I said, we are starting the grind again tomorrow. How are you guys feeling the night before it? Let's start with you, Dakota.
I'm terrified. No, I think I'm gonna just do what I did this last season. Even with the new cards coming out, I'm gonna play Phoenix Force because it worked this last go around.
Don't let everybody know what you're gonna do. Keep them guessing.
I'm just kidding. I'm gonna play Blink, and that's all I'm gonna play. I'm gonna do Blink, and I'm gonna do a Captain America deck. It's gonna be unstoppable. Good luck. You can try. You see Bok Choy, you might as well just leave because it's not gonna happen.
After snapping for 8 cubes, then leave.
Yeah. Snap, leave. Thank you.
There you go. How about yourself, Don? How do you feel this season's gonna go?
Man, I'm super excited. I feel very confident, which means there's no one making it to infinite this season. So, I might get doomed. That's how I feel.
Bringing back the doom again, man.
I got a couple of decks I feel like I can climb with. I'm ready.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I feel like this season's gonna be fun. All these new cards are actually looking pretty interesting to try. So, I mean, I think last season the card that I didn't really want to try was U.S. Agent, So, I feel like this season has a bunch of cards that are actually going to be worth the 6,000 tokens if you buy it that way. But we'll see. We'll see how much we can get from these caches, if there's any bundles coming out that are actually worth it. It's going to be a long month, but hopefully it goes by fast. I know I'm taking off this week, and I should be back to work around the 20th, which means May's over almost. But I'm looking forward to playing this season. Hopefully we could pull it out pretty fast and make it so that we could kind of just slow roll this season. So, with that said, I just want to say thank you guys for joining me again on this episode. We will be postponing, well, not postponing, but like we will be skipping next week for the podcast, but we will do another one the following week. So please be on the lookout for that. Please follow us on our Instagram or TikTok. You could also follow us here on Twitch or follow YouTube. So on Instagram, we are Cubed, the Marvel Snap podcast. On TikTok, we are Cubed Marvel Snap. And on Twitch and YouTube, just find it under ggMarcLee, or you could search Cubed. So, anything else you guys like to add?
Nah, just let's get ready for the next season.
Yep.
Thanks again for all the love and support you guys are giving us on our social media. It's awesome. Loved commenting back and forth with you guys. We all tag team here, so you're talking to all of us. Like someday I'll start messaging someone, and then someone will pick it up and continue the conversation. It's phenomenal. So y'all being blessed by all three of us in one combo. So yeah, I just want to say thanks again for the love and support. We're trying to get to 200, so help us out. Help us out.
Yeah, I think we're like 6 away, so that's our next goal: reach 200 followers. It's funny that you say that because sometimes when you're talking to somebody, I think we all get the notifications. So I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I don't want to jump in sometimes because maybe I don't want to double reply. So I always, whenever I talk to somebody or I reply to somebody, I say we. So it's not it's not our pronouns. It's just it's a collective we that
we're a legion.
That's right, everyone. You are getting 3 for the cost of 1.
There you
what
go.
a discount.
Subscribe now. So with that, we'd like to thank you guys for watching, for listening, for replying, leaving a comment, leaving a like, leaving any type of way to just let us know that you guys enjoy our content. We really do appreciate it, like Dakota said. We just want to provide entertainment, and we're hoping that you guys enjoy. So until next time, which again, give us 2 weeks, I will be back, and we will give you another episode of Cubed, the Marvel Snap podcast. Have a good night.
Not everyone.
To say bye-bye.